I'm Barry Qualls. I am a lifelong friend, so to speak, of Cheryl Wall, and we were both colleagues in the English department and great friends as well. Cheryl and I both came to Rutgers. It was like she came, I think, in 72, and I came in 71. It was a white campus, I mean, mostly. By 1980s, the demographic changes in New Jersey mandated, really, that Rutgers became a totally diverse student community, not always in the administration or the faculty, but it became a diverse student community. And I thought that Cheryl led the way in getting departments like history, with working with Deborah Gray White, the great historian, and English and other departments, women's studies, to bring courses that reflected the diversity of the campus, but also gave it an intellectual rigor. They weren't just, quote, woke courses. There were courses that had a rigor about them. I mean, Cheryl often talked about when she was at Harvard, they didn't read African-American writers. They might have read somebody, but not many, James Baldwin maybe, but very few. And Cheryl really set out to enrich the curriculum by asking questions about who had been left out. And that was one of the reasons for her focus in both her writing, her scholarship, and her public appearances, the way she was interested in Black women writers, women of the Harlem Renaissance, because they're often erased because the men got all the attention. And she, of course, was one of the major people to give Zora Neale Hurston a canonical place in American literature. Cheryl was always thinking about how you build a community an intellectual community of people who care about the work of literature and the work of writers. She really knew what was good, but she always worked with people. She was never, she could have thrown her weight around, but she didn't do that. She was a person of a real generosity of intellect, but also of camaraderie, of team building. And I think a part of her success was how brilliant she was at helping other people build something. And so when Cheryl began to work with the whole department, and she later became chair after I had been chair, she really asked questions about what is our curriculum? How is our curriculum training our students? What should our curriculum be doing that gives them the capacious ability to ask questions about literature, but about literature's relationship to culture and society? Cheryl Wall had the kind of influence that made you want to know, what does this woman think? And you wanted to know what she thought, because whether it was about literature, about authors, about the canon, but you also wanted to know what she thought about how a university should be run. And when she was a chair, one of the things that was remarkable, she had receptions every fall at her house for all the faculty. She never, there are people in any department that you want to say, please keep the door locked. But she never treated, she would sometimes say to me when we would have our midnight conversations, you can't make this up. But the point was, she really knew how to build a community. And I think what's so important about that fellowship, that's the question you ask, or the scholarship, as it keeps urging young people to learn about African-American literature, even if they've never taken many courses. They probably have, but any courses, if you get the Cheryl Wall scholarship, you will also learn about Cheryl Wall.